On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, we give you the latest OU football news, including an explanation of coaches' stations and why the media is expressing so much doubt about Brent Venables and OU football. In the National College Football Roundup, we discuss Harbaugh, Fickell, and Aranda's contract extensions and the alliance. It's already fallen apart. Who could have seen that coming? We finish up giving you our winners and losers of the week. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Thursday, February 17th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in February from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play in Riverwind's $80,000 River of Romance giveaway. Drawings are every 30 minutes, and grand prize winners will be selected at 11:59. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the best. Now, recording this Wednesday night, please leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment while you're at it. How we doing, Ted?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Middle of the week, feeling great.
As am I. I feel good. I had a little of the second day soreness set in from the skiing on Sunday. On Tuesday, I was like, oh. But I feel good now. I feel like I'm past it.
Quads and feet. My feet always get sore.
Mine was like the lower calf. It was interesting. I was like, hey, but I just chalked it up to getting old. I was like, I'm fine.
Not bad. Hey, if you can make it out with just some minor soreness, I think that's a W.
Yep. Well, I'll be back. I'll be back on the slopes. I liked it.
Hooked?
I think I don't know about hooked, but I'll be back. I'll be back. We'll see.
That's good.
We'll see how long it takes. A lot of OU stuff to talk about. So let's get right to it. So there is a video that OU football has put out on Instagram, Twitter, and all the players are led to believe that they are going to have to clean up the locker room because they left it messy or whatever. BV tricked him. He tricked him, Ted. And they go into the locker room, and there is a Hyper Ice Legacy pack sitting at each locker. And I wanted to explain this because there are a lot of people that are like, what's in that case? Like, what is that? So you and I are familiar with this stuff because it's a big deal at the college football level and certainly in the National Football League. But so in that case, which by the way is like $1,200, like $1,250. It's not cheap, but it's got a Hypervolt massage gun. You see all kinds of versions of these everywhere. All kinds of companies make them. I actually have a Hypervolt. Very good product. Highly recommend it if you don't have one. And then the other thing that's in that case for them are Normatec recovery boots, which basically the technology uses air compression to massage your legs and basically squeeze your legs so tight that it almost kind of cuts off your circulation, but it's supposed to increase circulation because it gets real tight and then it loosens up, and it's supposed to help recovery. So those guys getting their own, that's awesome. Like I've never seen that before.
I've never used them before.
What?
Unfortunately, those weren't around, or at least weren't in wide circulation till after I was done, which is how old I am. But essentially it's an ice tub, right? Whenever you get in the ice tub, you get all the vasoconstriction forces all the blood out of the legs, right? Then you get out and you get new oxygenated blood back down into the legs whenever you come back to room temperature. And that's essentially the same thing. It's tightening up, forcing the blood out of your legs. And then whenever it releases, you get new oxygenated blood coming back. And it's fantastic, man. To be able to have access to that, every single guy is awesome.
So the reason it's a big deal is it is one of the most popular recovery methods out there now. But they already had a bunch of Normatechs, right? They're just in the training room.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get done with a workout or you get done with practice, do you really want to go sit in the training room or lay in there for 20 more minutes and get set up with your Normatech boots and do that? No, a lot of guys don't want to do that. But if you have your own set at home, you can just turn some Netflix on, put your feet up, put your recovery boots on, and it's that easy. Like, I know people were saying, like, do they not already have these things? Yes, the training staff had a bunch of them, but it just makes it that much more convenient. And guys are just going to use them that much more when they've got their own set at their own place. It just makes all the sense in the world. And when you think about how big of a business OU football is, yeah, give all the kids the recovery equipment for themselves. I'm fine with it. Got no problem with it.
I think he still should have made him scrub the locker room to get him, though, right?
Who's to say he didn't?
Yeah. Maybe that didn't make it into the video, the video edit, right? No, that was cool though, man. Just just more stuff and tailored suits, recovery equipment. I mean, they've been getting some goodies here recently, and that's awesome. But they've also been putting in work, so it's a little bit of a reward for what's been going on.
Yeah. So one of the main reasons they're going to need those Normatech recovery boots, coaches stations are back, Ted.
Woo!
They're back. So doing the players are doing them on Tuesdays and Fridays, which I like that schedule. That's a good coaches station schedule. But so this is in the winter, this is where the pain and suffering begins, people. That's basically what's going on. But I will say this, talk to a couple guys on the staff after the first coaches stations on Tuesday. They were really pleased with how it went. I mean, almost, I don't want to say they were surprised, but they really like what they saw. Now, remember, when you start coaches stations, like the stations are short. And as you progress through the winter, like each session of coaches stations, each station gets longer, and that's when it really starts to suck. But it sounds like that, with the short stations, that this went about as well as they could ask for.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Ease them into it. I honestly don't remember doing it twice in a week. Did you guys do it twice in a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we did. I feel like we just had one a week, and I feel like it was a bloodbath every single time. Like, I mean, just hell, people screaming, people getting thrown out, but it's different, man. Whenever you've got the grinder going and everyone's out there working at the same time, there's a lot of groups, small amount of rest within each little station, but it's good, man. That's how you get the work in.
So from what I've been told, these are not the same stations that you and I did. There have been tweaks. So when Venables was coaching when I was there, he was always the change of direction guy. He was always that guy, and that was just brutal. Just a brutal exercise. Ship drill, Jackie Ship. I'm sure you remember. 5 and back, 10 and back, 15 and back.
Yeah, that was the worst one.
Worst one. No longer in the coaches stations circuit. Changes have been made.
That's a game changer. Because that was always the hardest one. And I thought Schmitty did the change of direction drill when I was there, but maybe not. Maybe not. Because that's always been his thing out like in summer workouts and winter workouts is he's the change of direction guy. But those are the two worst. Like if you make it through those two, you're pretty much there, right?
Having a good partner, so key. So key. But so this version that OU's using right now started at Alabama. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And Schmitty actually used it at Texas A&M over the last several years. And a couple of guys that have been part of that Ole Miss staff, like Joe John, who was there a couple years ago, and Levy, who was there as recently as last season. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss were using this format as well. So it stems from Nick Saban and from Bama. So I don't think we could really criticize it. Like if the kids aren't dying or anything like that, it's just because they're maybe not going to suffer the way that we did. That doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing. Hey, if Bama was using it, what are we supposed to argue with, you know?
Yeah. And my whole thing is it really doesn't matter what the drills are, as long as it's insanely difficult and you wouldn't make it on your own. You make it because you don't want other people to suffer for you costing the group. Like to me, that's the whole point, right? Is to not cost your group at a station. Like you make it through because of your teammates. Like I feel like that's the whole point. And it doesn't matter like what the format is, how many stations or what the actual drill is, as long as it's so difficult that you have to force yourself through it to save your teammates.
That's the whole point. Yes, it is, it's a workout, right? You're getting cardio and you're doing all that kind of stuff, but it's more mental than anything. And it's more about bringing the team closer together. Right. And honestly, finding out who your leaders are.
Yep.
I think that, and that happens a lot in summer workouts as well, but these coach stations, that's where guys kind of emerge as the leaders of the team. And one of the questions that is being asked about some of the pictures coming out of these workouts is it's like Dylan Gabriel's wearing a number 26 jersey and people are like, oh, what's up with that? So I asked, and the number is meaningless, right? Just, hey, grab a jersey. And what the jersey means is that you're the leader of the group in coaches stations for that day. And if you're the guy wearing the jersey, you have to go first and lead your group at every station. And that's no different than how it was when you and I did it, right? You were a captain, I was a captain. Like those guys went first in line all the time. But as one coach put it, when you got the jersey on and no one else does, there's no hiding. There's no blending in. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I'd never seen that.
Well, yeah, no, I like it. I think that's great. And as well as I do, like in Coach Ship's drill, after you've made it through, it's almost like you feel bad, but you're hoping a couple of guys get sent back because you get an extra couple seconds of rest there as they redo theirs. That 15-second period is crucial.
You're rested, but like if they're messing up, then you start cheering louder, like because you're gaining your breath a little bit, and then you're like, come on. So stupid.
Part of it is also like there's a little bit of an acting job of putting out full effort, right? Like you got to be like bobbing the head and stuff like you're really
it's all the sound effects, right?
That's so funny, man.
I'm sure they're doing the same stuff that we did, dude.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The same tricks. It's great.
But the format that I was told, so you got your 8 stations, right? And you can see the videos that OU's put out. You got a hurdle station, you got a station where you're pushing a sled, you got a station where you're kind of chasing guys, like almost like a circle. You've got these 8 stations, right? Then you take a 5-minute break. Then you finish up with 4 stations, which they are kind of saying is like, finishing in the fourth quarter. And Ted, you'll be glad to know, hey, Bags is on there, which you talk about the drill that can lead to the most laughs. Guys running over Bags sideways. Oh my gosh. Just clipping it and falling over. God, that's the best. But they've got little explosion punch drill that they're doing. That's pretty interesting. But don't worry, man. Mat drill, one of the finishing drills. Your
Love
favorite. Everyone's favorite.
Get on the mat, get a little rolls going. That's awesome. It's fun, man. That's honestly, those workouts they're brutal, and like it got to be a point where like the station part of it was the best, but the conditioning afterwards was always just like, that was usually the bloodbath.
The conditioning afterwards was because when we did them, we would run 200s afterwards. And I don't know if they're doing any of that right now, but one thing, like the competitions, those were where it's like you versus one other dude, and it's like a towel. It's like, all right, pull the other guy across the line. You're just like, wait, what? It's like, I remember it was like me versus Stephen Good, like the strongest dude on the team. I was like, all right, here we go. Like, all right. But they put you in these situations, and I'm sure that they're going to start doing more of that, whether it's tug of war. I mean, we all went through the same stuff, or like at least some similar version of it. It's all about putting a spotlight on a guy, and it's not about him winning. It's about seeing how he competes.
Yeah.
And that was something like when I, I hadn't even technically moved to offensive line yet, but they put me in some spots where it was like, all right, we think this guy has a chance to play a lot for us. Let's see how he competes. Let's see how he fights. And I wasn't very strong, but in those drills, I was the last dude giving up. Like, even if you were dragging my ass across the field, like I wasn't giving up, man.
That's how you got to do it, man. You get to compete. I felt like maybe my last year we started doing this thing during the station days where they would pluck like 4 defensive guys and 4 offensive guys, and you do like a little bit of a relay race.
Oh yeah.
Going through some type of stuff. And then obviously if the defense won, the offense would have to run the sprints, and the defense was off. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So there'll be plenty of that. So that's what winter workouts are all about. It's about developing that toughness and competing and finding your leaders. And it sounds like things are going well so far. I can't wait to check in next week and see if things are still going very smoothly.
Is there who was it Coach Stoops that used to walk around and blow the whistle to rotate stations?
That, or he would make one of the equipment guys do it with a horn.
Yeah. And there's like there becomes a moment of panic whenever like you've got the clock in your head, and it's like, where's the whistle? What's going on here? I'm about to have to go again. Where's the whistle?
Top of the order. No, because the worst part would be if you were the first guy and like the time doesn't run out for you. You got to start again. You got to go, like say you're doing mat drill and it's back to the top of the order, and you go through it and you're halfway through, and then they blow the whistle and you're tired and you got to run to the next station. And remember, you got to go first again.
Yep. That's right.
Awful.
That's right. I love it. Good stuff.
What fun memories. I hope people are enjoying us talking about this. They're probably like, these guys they complain a lot. Yeah, you're right.
Hey man, so summers were always bad, but a couple of the worst days that I had at OU were coaches station days. Yep.
We can only hope that it's the same for the current players.
Yep.
I won't lie. I want them to suffer the way that we suffered. I don't think that makes us bad people.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, you want everyone to go through the same misery you did. That's just misery loves company, right? Isn't that what they say?
That is the saying. Okay. There's some people in the media that we're onto. We're going to talk about it. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 560 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the snacks and drinks, including, yes, my favorite, Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. I'm gonna keep just spicing that up as much as possible.
I love it.
Java Amore. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see the red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com.
Opolis Clothing has created 2 St. Patrick's Day Oklahoma Breakdown t-shirts. And there's even a rumor floating around out there that may be in the works for the baddest ass t-shirt ever created. But St. Patrick's Day t-shirts, make sure you get your order in by March 3rd. Ooh, whoa. What is that a fancy corn, Gabe? Is that what I see?
It's the blue corn, the fancy corn.
I love it.
It's like if a piece of blue corn and the Monopoly man had a baby.
I love it. The St. Patty's Day shirts are green, and of course, they're buttery soft. Go to opolisclothing.com, OPOLIS clothing.com. Use our promo code TED, TED, for 10% off your entire order. You still get a discount on all the OU and OKC Thunder gear as well. That's opolisclothing.com. Use our promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
Okay, so we have a ton of respect for the other people that do what we do, whether that's TV, radio, podcasting. Like, we know the grind, right? We understand how difficult this job is, even though a lot of people think it's easy. Like, hey, you show up and you talk about sports. Like, it does sound easy, but there's a lot of time that goes into it. And it appears that there are some other people that work in sports media that are as smart as we are, Ted, but we're onto them. We're onto them. We're sensing the pattern, my friend. We know what they're doing. And they know that we know that they know we know. Because you're starting to see an awful lot of people question Brent Venables' ability to be a head coach. You're starting to see a suspicious amount of people maybe express doubt about OU's future as a program. And it's because questioning Brent Venables' ability to be a head coach is good for business. Mm-hmm. And expressing doubt about OU's future as a program is good for business, because OU fans are constantly online and they are so on edge right now. So writing that stuff or saying it on a podcast or a radio show is going to result in a ton of engagement and a ton of downloads and a ton of interactions. So there are some smart people out there that work in this industry that go, you know what we should do? We should let's give a little slight to OU and just see what happens. We're on to them, Ted. We're on to them. We know what they're doing.
There's no doubt. It's the low-hanging fruit right now. You mentioned something about Oklahoma in a negative light. You've got a massive fan base that is devouring your content. Now, they're posting it and talking about how big of a jackass you are, but they're still clicking on it, listening to it, whatever it is. I can promise you, I will never purposely say something stupid in order to make money. Now, I'll say stupid things all the time, just like because I'm stupid sometimes, but I'll never purposely say something that I don't believe is true and that is stupid to make money. I think that is, I think it's ridiculous, honestly. But, I know how the game's played. I know that these guys are going to keep Oklahoma out of they're way too early, top 25. And then whenever the season rolls around, guess who's going to be right back in their pretty typical spot.
Yep. And so I do like the guys from the Cover 3 podcast, right? I think they do a good job. And this, some of the things that were said on the last episode of Cover 3 have made some OU fans rather angry, right? And if you haven't listened to it, you should listen to this podcast instead. But, if you want to listen to another college football podcast, it is a good one. It's a popular one. And it's got Danny Cannell, Tom Fornelli, Chip Patterson, and Bud Elliott. It's from CBS Sports. And they were rating the new coaching hires. And they gave Brent Venables a 3-star. Now, to Chip Patterson's defense, he gave him 4. But they said Brent Venables was a 3-star hire and that he was not an exciting hire and that he is a great coordinator, has been a great coordinator, but just doesn't know, but they just don't know what he's going to be like as a head coach. And that's fair, right? There's no doubt that is fair. Like, they're as confident as we are in Brent Venables being the right guy for this job. Like, we don't know what he's like as a head coach. He's never done it. That's true. Where I have a problem is the same guy, Tom Fornelli, that gave Brent Venables a 3-star ranking, gave Marcus Freeman 4 stars. And I like Marcus Freeman a lot. I think he's going to do a really good job at Notre Dame. But if you just put Marcus Freeman's resume next to Brent Venables' resume, it's not close. It is not even close. So that's where I see it. And I'm like, really? Like, really? I mean, 2 guys that are both defensive coordinators that are now head coaches. I mean, they don't even compare when you line up the resumes. And once again, I think Marcus Freeman is great. I think he's a great, great hire for Notre Dame. But everyone and their dog is taking Brent Venables over Marcus Freeman when you just compare the resumes. It's not close.
Yeah, it's not close. I got to tell you, I don't know Tom Fornelli, but I heard what he said on the podcast, and then I saw him defending himself on Twitter. So I think truly he is an idiot. Like, maybe he wasn't just saying it for clicks and listens. I truly think he's an idiot. Like, one of his defenses is like, well, Oklahoma going to the SEC, OU fans realize that it's going to be difficult going to the SEC. No one here thinks that OU is going to rip off 6 straight Big 12 championships, right? I mean, people understand what's going on. But he starts like saying, well, they're just, 5-5 against the SEC over the last however many years. It doesn't work like that. You can't use that as a dig against Oklahoma, because guess what? The SEC, they're only 5-5 against Oklahoma over the last however many years, right? It doesn't work to try and use it as a dig against Oklahoma. Not to mention, Oklahoma is playing the best of the SEC in big bowl games, Sugar Bowls, college football playoffs. It's not an accurate view. And you can't say that Brent Venables, I think he's going to be a good coach, but I don't know if he's the coach to lead them to the SEC. I don't know if he'll last once they make the transition. Well, tell me why, and tell me someone that would have been a hire that could make them transition to the SEC. You can't just say it's bad without saying what would have been better.
You know what Brent Venables knows? What it's like to go head to head on the recruiting trail with Bama and Georgia and LSU. Because that is what Brent Venables was doing at Clemson. I know some people just think, hey, Clemson was, they got guys and they developed them. Yeah, but towards the end, they were going and getting some of the best recruiting classes in the country. And BV knows what it takes to go down in that area of the country and get those guys and win those recruiting battles. Mm-hmm. Lincoln Riley didn't know how to do that. Right? Lincoln Riley.
I didn't see it. Maybe that's not fair. That higher.
Say that
Riley,
again.
How did they grade the Lincoln Riley hire to USC?
5-star, of course.
See, that's so stupid.
But the thing that bugged me, and you touched on it, OU fans, they're some of the most knowledgeable fans in this sport. They know that OU's not going to walk into the SEC and dominate that conference like they dominated the Big 12. That's not going to happen, right? It's just not, it's not realistic to think that that is going to happen. Now, do they expect them to be really competitive and to win an SEC title every once in a while? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But the reason that, and he was like, I don't think OU fans are going to enjoy going to the SEC very much. They're not going to be, the king of the mountain anymore. Tom Fridelli clearly has not looked at OU's home schedule for 2022. That is the reason OU fans are so excited to go to the SEC. Because you look at the home schedule this upcoming season, UTEP, Kent State, K-State, Kansas, Baylor, Oklahoma State.
It's the crappiest home schedule you could really ask for.
It's not about, yes, of course, winning is extremely important to this fan base, but they also want to see some better games, man.
Yep.
They're spending their hard-earned money, a lot of hard-earned money on season tickets. They want better games. They want to see Ole Miss. They want to see Georgia. They want to see Bama. Yeah, you might lose some of those games, but it's going to be way more fun as a fan. No one thinks that OU's going undefeated every year in the SEC. Like, we all know that's not realistic. But it's about getting more for spending your hard-earned money to support the program. Like, that's I don't know why that's hard for people to understand.
I don't know. Just like it's hard for people to understand whenever OU fans are legitimately happy with where we are and feel like we're better off. Everyone says, oh, it's, whatever. Everyone's just, OU fans are just mad that Lincoln left. No, mad at how it happened. Happier with the situation now than it was before. And no one understands that. They think that Oklahoma, it's like everyone has like a 4 or 5 year memory. Like Oklahoma's never been good before Lincoln Riley, right? It's absurd. Like, there were some deep flaws in our program in the way that Lincoln Riley ran the program, and Venables has already addressed a lot of those big concerns. And frankly, he's going to be much better at recruiting positions that actually win football games, right? Lincoln was great at recruiting wide receivers, and quarterbacks win football games. So I shouldn't say that, but wide receivers, I'm not going to say that they can't take over games. They can, but you win championships on the line of scrimmage. And that's where Brent Venables is going to be way better recruiting. You've already seen it.
Yeah.
he has had like a month and a half on the job, and you've already seen it.
And the thing that BV really understands, he was just at, Clemson. You look at the run that they had, just an incredible amount of success. And I know it was in the ACC, but remember, they got to national championships. They won them. They beat the best in the SEC, right? Brent Venables knows what the roster needs to look like. He knows the types of players he has to go get. And he's fought those recruiting battles for the last decade at Clemson. Remember, Clemson is in South Carolina. It is in SEC country. So I don't know. Listen, I can get expressing a little doubt because you don't know. He's never been a head coach before. But to make it sound like the guy's just like he's not even going to make it to the SEC as OU's coach, like it's just I don't understand. It's one of those things.
He's been a defensive coordinator for 25 years. It's not like all of a sudden he's having to do something that he's never done before. He understands the ins and outs of college football, of recruiting, of administration, of coaching, of developing talent, of game management. He's not doing something that he hasn't done before. There's no difference. He's the head coach. Yeah, you may be able to tell the offense, let's go for it on fourth down here, or let's run that fake we've been practicing. And you're in charge of the culture. And I mean, there's a lot to it. I don't mean to downplay the head coaching position, but people act like all of a sudden he's going to have to do something that he has no clue on how to do. Well, no one had a problem when Lincoln Riley was a 2-year offensive coordinator at Oklahoma and took over the job as head coach. No one was just hammering that at the time. What is it about Lincoln Riley? And I think Lincoln Riley is incredibly smart. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I think he's done some really good things. There's no doubt about that. But the whole world believes that Lincoln Riley hung the moon. Did these same people not forget that they picked OU to win the national championship last year? And they didn't even make it to the conference championship game? And he just skates by. No one even brings that up. Oh my God, 5-star hire to USC. How does he do that? How is that possible? Frankly, it happened at Oklahoma for a long time before finally people started to criticize some things that he'd done. That's his greatest skill.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But there was one last thing said that I had to get your reaction to. And Bud Elliott, I think Bud Elliott does a great job for CBS Sports. He does a really good job. I like his gambling stuff. But at the very end of that podcast, he basically compared OU going to the SEC, said it could be similar to what we've seen from West Virginia and TCU going to the Big 12, or from Maryland going to the Big 10. He basically said that OU's they're gonna take the check, and they're now gonna have to take some L's.
Well,
comparing OU football, the decades and decades of tradition and success, comparing it to TCU in Maryland and West Virginia is ridiculous. And the thing that's different about those is West Virginia in the Big 12, they got farther from their recruiting footprint. They have there's no geographic advantage to where West Virginia is located. Now, TCU, it's a private school. It's hard to get guys in. Like, that's a different issue. But OU going to the SEC is only going to get them better players. I don't know how that is hard for people to understand. Yes, they'll lose some more games. There's no doubt. They'll lose more games than they did in the Big 12. But they're also going to be a better team. And maybe that's hard for people to understand. They will be a lot better. They may lose more. But comparing OU to West Virginia and TCU and Maryland, I mean, just come on, man. What are we doing?
I don't know who Bud Elliott is. And I don't know what his gambling picks are. And CBS Sports, you say that's who he works for. All I know is this from Bud Elliott. Bud Elliott is a jackass. And Bud Elliott basically has ruined any credibility ever speaking about anything in college football. If you compare Oklahoma to West Virginia, TCU, and Maryland, you're a jackass. And there's really no other way around that. You can't. That's it. It's over. You are eliminated from being able to speak about college football. You can't do that. That's absurd. Did he watch OU beat the hell out of West Virginia and TCU nonstop whenever they came to the Big 12? Right? Did these people say the same thing about, like, Texas A&M is like, they won a conference championship in the 90s one time. And now they're turning out recruiting classes. They've had a big bump from going to the SEC. Now, Texas A&M is not great. That's not what I'm saying. But even a team that sucks like Texas A&M gets a big bump by going to the SEC and being in that world and being able to recruit that territory. Oklahoma's going to get the same thing. Just like you said, they're going to be a better team because of it. Doesn't mean they're going to win the SEC every year, but they're going to be competitive at the top. Alabama, Georgia, okay, they're on a run with Kirby Smart right now. Outside of that, find me a team that is consistently as good as OU. Do not say LSU. LSU, once in a blue moon, puts out great teams. Like every 3 or 4 years, they're going to go compete for a national championship, okay? That's LSU's formula. It's worked for them. Year in, year out, you can't say that there's anyone else in that conference that is as competitive as Oklahoma. That's just how it is. That doesn't mean that every year they're going to be right there, number 1 or number 2 when they go down there, but they have the most consistency of any of those teams other than Alabama. So to compare them to these schools, you're just an idiot. I mean, there's really no other way around that. You can't do that. You can't do that and want to be looked at as a credible source in the college football world. That's the dumbest thing I've heard anyone with that size of a platform say, ever.
There's one final thought I have on all of this. If Brent Venables would have taken the Auburn job last year, if he would have said, yeah, I want it, instead of them hiring Brian Harsin, because they would have taken Venables over Harsin. There's no doubt. These same people would have been talking about what a great hire that was for Auburn.
Yep.
And OU has a hell of a lot more tradition than Auburn. And they're going to be better than Auburn when they get to the SEC. And Brent Venables is going to out-recruit whoever they hire after they fire Brian Harsin, after all this weird stuff has gone on. Who knows how long that guy's going to be there. But just remember that. If Venables would have taken that job, there would have been, Auburn was finally the one that could lure Venables away. But it's like OU going to the SEC is just going to ruin the program. Like the wheels are going to fall off, Ted. These decades and decades and decades of tradition of playing football at the highest level, at the college level, it's just going to go away because they change conferences. So I guess it's just what's going to happen, man. I guess we just don't realize that.
Well, I mean, you can make the argument that the University of Oklahoma in recent history was at their best whenever the Big 12 was the best conference in college football. That's whenever you got the best out of Oklahoma.
You mean when you were there?
Well, and 04 and those years when you had
2000 to 09.
Yes.
Or I guess 08.
Well, no, 09. 09. Texas played in it in 09, 05. OU played in it in 2000, 03, 04, 08. You had a Big 12 team in the national championship. Was that 7 out of 10 years? That's pretty impressive. And and Nebraska in 01 left that one out. Got housed, but still made it. So, and I think that was whenever you saw all those teams playing their best. I think there's something to that. And I think when Oklahoma goes to the SEC, which is the best conference in college football, they're going to get a boost from it. Maryland. What the hell, man? Maryland?
I couldn't wait
Maryland
to bring
was
that
terrible
up.
before they went to the Big Ten. That doesn't even work. God, that's so stupid. I can't believe someone in this industry would attach themselves to a comment that dumb. If I was him, I would do everything in my power to scrub that crap from the servers in the podcast to where no one ever knew that I said something like that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's why I saved that for last. I knew that would make you happy. Now, to their defense, we fell into the trap. We talked about it. We talked about it a lot. Dang it.
That's fine, man. Hey, and maybe people want everyone to talk about them being an idiot. Like, that's not what I want. Some people may want that. Like, maybe they're like, this will get a bunch of listens. People are going to click and listen to the podcast to hear this. I'd be like, no, we don't want people to listen to this. Do you know what I said? I said that Oklahoma is going to be like Maryland. I don't want anyone to hear that. So, I mean, kudos to them, I guess.
All right, let's get to call your shot. And, speaking, let's just get to it. So basically, we're at the time of the year where we start trying like hell. Now that it's the football off season, we try to get as many guests as y'all want us to get as possible, right? So we asked you, who do you want us to have on the podcast? And I had to read this first one. It comes from Jay Boogie on Twitter. He says, Mackenzie Milton, let him come on and say those things to Teddy's face.
Oh my God. Does Mackenzie Milton realize that whenever you go to school somewhere, you don't have to live there the rest of your life? Does he realize that? You're there for 3, 4, maybe 5 years.
Do you think he knows that OU has double the amount of NFL players that UCF has?
I don't know. No, probably not.
That, people like to go live in Norman, Oklahoma because, first of all, people are nice. It's a nice little wholesome town, but also had a pretty good track record of making you a millionaire in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, but Orlando's cool. Like, humidity's awesome. You can golf all year. That's sweet. But they've got half the NFL players that OU has. I looked it up. It's actually, I think it's 41-20. So,
yeah,
a little more than double.
Well, if you want to go over the history of the programs, like, then you're really talking about something. But it's weird, man. And I know it. He's got him a new role there, and he's all guns blazing, coming out about how great UCF is. And I think it's a good school. I do. I think they got a huge enrollment. I think Orlando's a fine place. Like, there's a lot of good things going there, but like, you're knocking on the wrong door here, man. Like, why are you coming after blue blood programs and Midwest teams? This is not the place. Keep it simple. Stay in Florida. Like, focus on recruiting Florida. Like, don't start hammering Oklahoma. Like, this is not, we're not in your world here.
Do you think Mackenzie Milton was like, hey man, I just want to get some interactions with some OU fans?
I don't know what he's
I
doing.
bet you his mentions are a dumpster fire.
I don't know what's going on. It's like there's a race to the bottom right now on dumb comments. Like, who can outdo the next? but nothing's going to outdo, what's his name? Nothing's going to outdo Bud Elliott comparing Oklahoma to Maryland. That's going to go down in history. That is horrible.
I love Mackenzie Milton. I'm sorry, but the only recruiting pitch with these blue bloods have is they are just that. Yeah, that's kind of the point, man. People like to win. People like to win. They like to go make a ton of money playing football in the NFL. Like, that's all they got, dude. Yes, that's the whole point.
Yeah. And that the other point is, I said this today on my radio show. If there was a blue blood program that competes on a national level and sends guys to the NFL, and it was in Anchorage, Alaska, people would be lined up to go play football in Anchorage, Alaska. It doesn't matter. Can you win championships? Can you compete at the highest level? And can you get me into the NFL? If the answer to that is yes, I don't care where it is, right? The facilities are fantastic, huge fan base, players are loved. It's just, it's another statement from a guy that's probably never been to Oklahoma, never played against Oklahoma, just has no clue. Great hire, UCF. Awesome.
Wait till he learns more about Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah.
Not a booming metropolis.
Yeah. Who would ever want to go play football at Alabama?
Just every player in the country.
All they do there is win championships and send guys to the NFL. What's the big deal?
Blue blood, that's all they got. They don't have a beach.
This is an awesome hire by Central Florida. In day one, he's already got everyone talking about how stupid he is.
I will say this. Love that guy's story, though. I mean, remember his leg almost fell off. Yeah, no, love that guy, but just hilarious. Okay, let's get to some of these other ones. Michael Pena says he'd like us to get Baker, of course. It would be the most listened to Oklahoma breakdown ever. Yeah, Michael, it would. You're right. And we've tried. Just no success yet.
Come on, man. Come on, Baker. Let's go.
Everyone tweet Baker.
Media, though.
Everyone tweet Baker. Tell him to come on. Rob Owen says Tony Jefferson needs to make an appearance. That would be a good one. Tony's a funny guy, too.
Dude, he's a good player, man. Good football player.
Kyle Davis says Thad Turnipseed.
Ooh, that's actually an interesting one.
He says he doesn't have to go into any crazy detail, but I would love to know more about the advancements that are coming down the line. That is, if he has time to chat. We could reach out to our man Thad. You think he would do it?
I don't know. I think he would do it. I don't know how much we'd learn.
He's kind of a
mysterious,
kind of secretive guy.
Yeah.
Lil Bucko on Twitter says Jeff Lebby would love to hear his plans for the offense this year, recruiting, and what he thinks the ceiling is for this coming year's team. If only one of us knew Jeff Lebby very, 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 very well.
I'll ask him. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is see well, you just never know what the head guy is going to allow or not allow. That's kind of the roadblock there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like there's it seems like they're going to, I think they're going to be okay on the media end of things. I think they're going to be pretty open about doing some stuff.
We should just start with the head man then, probably, and then work our way down the totem pole.
Yeah. That's smart.
The last one comes from Drew Gastineau. He says, the king, Barry Switzer, make it happen, boys.
That would be great.
We got to do that.
That would be great.
That would be a Perry on Winfrey level of swearing, which by the way, people loved. And we got lots of people that want Perry on to come back on, and he will. He's going to be a frequent guest for sure.
We may to get like a post combine check-in or something. The great thing about Coach Switzer is, hey, Coach, how you doing? Off he goes.
Tell us a story. All right, birthday shout-outs time. Happy 5th birthday to Bryn Sneary.
Happy birthday, Bryn.
Happy 6th birthday to Calvin Edison Day.
Happy birthday, Calvin.
Happy 7th birthday to Henry Hatton.
Happy birthday, Henry.
Happy 17th birthday to Emma Ward.
Happy birthday, Emma.
Happy 18th birthday to Parker Andrews.
Happy birthday, Parker.
Happy 21st birthday to Carter Bocox.
Happy birthday, Carter. As we always say on 21s, be smart.
Happy 25th birthday to Bork Nielsen.
Happy birthday, Bork. I love it.
I'm pretty sure that kid's name is Brock, but his buddies told me to put Bork. It must be an inside joke. So
that's great.
I hope he gets a nice laugh out of that. Happy 65th birthday to Nancy Copeland. All right, Nancy.
Happy birthday, Nancy.
Happy birthday to Chase Burgess.
Happy birthday, Chase.
Happy birthday to Jason Bailey. And that's coming from your OU boys, Jason.
Nice. Happy birthday, Jason.
Congratulations to the Cochrans on the birth of Dutch Hayes Cochran.
Congrats, folks. That's awesome. Happy birthday to Dutch.
Congrats to Alex and Gabby Robinson on the birth of Camila Grace Robinson. Couple births. All right.
Yeah. Congrats, Alex and Gabby.
This is a big one. Happy 51st anniversary to Larry and Nancy Gunter.
Wow. Happy anniversary, Larry and Nancy. Amazing. 51.
And this is a big one. Good luck to our man, Canyon River Hosick, in the Nebraska State Wrestling Tournament. Good luck, man.
Yeah. Good luck, Canyon. Get it done.
All right. Let's get to the National College Football Roundup. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing and will design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
Guys, winter is here, or it's about to be here yet again, but it doesn't matter because it's always hard seltzer season, and there's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Sonic Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink it in the hot tub, by the fire, and at the tailgate. You can buy 12 packs of the iconic Sonic drive-in flavors like cherry limeade and ocean water, or you can grab a citrus variety pack or a tropical variety pack. Find it at your local grocery, convenience, and liquor stores.
All right, National College Football Roundup. Let's talk some coaching extensions. Big names getting some extensions in college football. Jim Harbaugh. No, he is not going to be the Minnesota Vikings coach. I believe Kevin O'Connell, the OC from the Rams. How about that combination for that guy? Wednesday parade, Thursday introductory press conference. Ooh, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But Jim Harbaugh, 5-year contract extension that'll keep him at Michigan through 2026. I'm sure he is getting a lot of that pay cut he took. I'm sure he's getting that money back. Yep. So much for the NFL. Looks like old Harbaugh, we're going to have something to talk about when it comes to Michigan through 2026. I love it. It's great for college football because he's just such a weird guy, and he is a good coach. He's won everywhere he's been. So this is awesome. I'm so happy.
Nope, it's good. Made a playoff, finally broke through, won the Big Ten, went to the playoff. I kind of feel like that is the ceiling for Michigan for the time being. They still haven't had a game changer at quarterback like Ohio State has, like Alabama has. Like, that's what's been holding them back, in my opinion, to take that next step. And because they're great on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. Typically, they've got good players there. They just haven't had that superstar type of quarterback. And if he can get that in there, look out. But that's been the roadblock for him. But it's really the only thing for Michigan. There's nowhere else to go, really. I don't think you're going to upgrade over Jim Harbaugh. Smart by them locking him into a 5-year contract. Good stuff.
Yeah, and that's a great point about the quarterback thing, because I feel like you either got to be super dominant at the line of scrimmage, like Georgia was, and then you can have just a meh quarterback like Stetson Bennett was. Or you can be really good at the line of scrimmage like Michigan was, but you got to have a dude at quarterback. And they just didn't have that dude, right? Yep. They were pretty dang good. Now, I realized the CFP game didn't go particularly well for them, but they did have a good O-line and a good defensive line. Like they did. They needed that dude at the quarterback position. So maybe McCarthy ends up being that guy. I don't know, but we'll see.
And that last year was the chance to break through without that type of quarterback, because like the year before, Alabama was dominant at the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball, and had a dude at quarterback. This year was for Alabama a rebuilding year, and they still made the national championship game. They're going to be great at the line of scrimmage and have a dude at quarterback next year. So that's why they've got to have a guy to be able to break through, because on most years you're not going to be able to break through.
Yep. All right. So it turns out if you take a group of 5 team to the college football playoff, you get paid. Luke Fickell has agreed to a new contract extension that will have him at Cincinnati through the 2028 season. He will make $5 million a year. So he is now by far the highest compensated group of 5 coach, and his staff salary pool jumped significantly to a total of $5.2 million. So this is a guy that clearly is a hell of a football coach. They've gone 22-2 in the last 2 seasons. The losses are to Georgia and Alabama. Not too shabby. Nope. Not too shabby for Luke Fickell. But one thing that has happened for him, he's lost a lot of his guys off his staff. They've been poached because they've been offered more money. So with this extension, with this increase in the salary pool, I think he's hoping to avoid some of that. Clearly, when they make the move to the Big 12, they'll be working with some more money. So am I the only one that saw $5 million a year and I was like, it seems a little light for Luke Fickell? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I know it's a ton of money for a college football coach at the group of 5 level, but I don't know. I feel like maybe he earned a little more than that, especially with their move to the Big 12 coming. I don't know.
Well, I feel like it's one of those, we can get you to $5 million a year now.
Gotcha.
Especially if you want the big bump, which was a $1.5 million a year bump to the coaches pool, right? And that what it ended up being?
Yeah, I think 1.4, 1.5, something like that.
So that's big. My guess is when they make it to the Big 12 and get that bigger payout, then they'll probably bump him again then. Redo his contract then.
Yeah, because when his extension was announced, they kind of pointed out that Fickell's salary, if he was in the Big 12 now, would only be behind Venables, who is making 7+, and Sark is making like 5.5. So they basically said, hey, Fickell would be the 3rd highest paid Big 12 coach if the Bearcats were in the Big 12 right now. But then Dave Aranda signed a contract extension that will have him at Baylor through the 2029 season. You win a Big 12 championship, you go and you win a Sugar Bowl, you get paid, right? And I think that Mack Rhodes, the athletic director at Baylor, has done one hell of a job with that athletic program, and the success that they've had in football and in men's basketball. They're pumping a lot of money into facilities And if I had to guess, because remember, Baylor, private school, don't have to disclose the terms. I would guess Aranda's getting somewhere between 7 and 8 million, obviously, a year. I think that they are going to pay him handsomely to stick around in Waco. They were paying Matt Rule a ton before he left to take the Panthers job. I think they're paying Aranda even more. I really do. They've got a new football operations building that they're breaking ground on this summer. Like, once again, there's a lot of things that are going in the right direction in Waco. So this is clearly big for the future of Baylor football. And when you think about OU and Texas departing the Big 12 eventually for the SEC, and it seems, Ted, like Baylor's set up to be a serious player in the Big 12 conference moving forward once OU and Texas are out.
Yep. They need some sustainability here, and locking up Dave Aranda is a big step in that direction. They've done a good job recruiting. I love their schemes offensively and defensively are both excellent. I'm kind of curious how much the loss of Joey McGuire is going to hurt them. I think he was perfect for Baylor in recruiting a lot of the hidden gems of Texas, because he knew the high school coaching group down there so well that there would be guys that were maybe 3 stars where high school coaches are saying, listen, I know he's a 3-star, but I'm telling you, 2 years, this kid's going to be an absolute stud. And they've done a great job at being able to find those guys and uncover them. And they've had some of the best players in the Big 12 offensively and defensively almost every year. And they haven't been anywhere close to like what Oklahoma's been in recruiting. And I think it has a lot to do with, number one, development, obviously, but number two, being able to find those hidden guys out there that you really have to know the coaches of high school football in Texas to be able to find. So that's the one thing I'm curious about.
Yeah. And if you really pay close attention to the recruiting stuff, and I just know this because I've talked about it on my Big 12 show on Sirius, you look at Texas Tech's 2023 recruiting class, they already have 5 4-star commits in it. That doesn't happen at Tech.
No.
So you talking about Joey McGuire being a big loss. I think you got a point now. Clearly, you would assume that Baylor could build off that success, right? Build off the Big 12 championship season. That success should be reflected in the 2023 class. And I do think Baylor will continue to be a place that can get a couple of good guys in the portal every year just because of Aranda's reputation defensively, and Grimes, the reputation he has developed offensively. I really think the key for them moving forward, yes, of course, is talent acquisition. They got to hang on to Jeff Grimes. They got to hang on to him. If I'm not so sure if Brian Harsin wouldn't have gotten the boot at Auburn, that Jeff Grimes wasn't going to be the next head coach at Auburn. I think his name was right at the top of the list. So it'll be interesting to see how long they can hold on to him as well, because I think he's great. He runs my favorite system in all of college football.
Nope, I like it. And, it ended up being perfect for him. And, they took a linebacker and made him the top rusher in the Big 12 last year. See what they can do this year. I'm sure they can find someone this year that's going to be excellent as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one other thing that we got to talk about. We said the alliance was stupid when it happened, right? Remember, Ted, the gentleman's agreement between the Big 10, the Pac-12, and the ACC. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. I think it's good news for us because we thought it was stupid. But the alliance, it took a serious blow on Wednesday morning because Ohio State athletic director Gene Smith met with the media Wednesday morning. And he said a a few interesting things. The first thing he said was that it seems like Big Ten athletic directors really they thought about it, but they kind of like 9 conference games. Going to 8, really not something they want to do. Uh, and he added on that and said that he doesn't think playing annual games against the ACC and the Pac-12 would be worth playing only 8 Big Ten games and not being able to play big non-conference games, against teams like Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame. He was like, we want to keep playing those teams. We like that. And that has to sting. It's got to sting for their alliance partners in the Pac-12 and the ACC. Yeah, we all knew this was going to happen. Why was the Big Ten ever going to prop up the Pac-12 and the ACC when they didn't need to? It made no sense. They overreacted to OU and Texas going to the SEC, and now they've come to. They're like, wait, what happened? I blacked out. And now they're like, yeah, what the hell were we thinking? Yeah, we're definitely not doing that. That was a stupid thought. Yeah, alliance broken, alliance over. I love it. We all saw this coming.
Yeah, it didn't even last long enough for them to start planning games together. That's great. This tells me, I'd like to get your opinion on this. This tells me that there's about to be an announcement on expanding the playoff, because I feel like the announcement of the alliance was a pushback against a growing SEC. Like the SEC was, in my opinion, okay with growing because they felt like the playoff was going to expand, right? And that's why Oklahoma and Texas would be okay going to the SEC, because if we're going to 8 or 12 and we're going to a harder conference, we still have a good chance of making the playoff. And everyone else saw that and started pushing back on the expansion, right? Well, we're not sure that's what we want to do. ACC was dead set against it because they know if there is an expansion, they got a good chance of losing some of their top schools as well. So what do? Let's put together an alliance to show some strength, some solidarity between us. And whenever that falls apart this quickly, I have a feeling that there's ground has been made in the push towards an expanded playoff.
Gene Smith talked about CFP expansion and basically said he thinks it's going to happen, thinks it's going to expand to 12. He said he'll be surprised if it doesn't. He just doesn't know when it will happen. And he kind of cited that he think there will be multiple television partners that will want in on the bidding and when it expands, and that maybe it'll get bid out similar to how the NFL playoffs do. I don't know when it's coming. We all know it is coming, but RIP to the alliance, man. George Kliavkoff, that new Pac-12 commissioner, he's got to be so sad hearing this. Just a reminder, media partners are going to pay the Big Ten a ton of money because the Big Ten gets great ratings, right? And I believe they're renegotiating their TV deal at the end of the year. And the reports, I saw it from Sports Business Journal. The report is they will get $1 billion a year.
Woo. Wow.
I think it's 440 right now that they're getting, and they expect them to get double. They said it is definitely within the realm of possibility. $1 billion per year for the Big Ten TV deal. And the Pac-12's not getting that. They're certainly not getting anything close to that if they're not scheduling a bunch of games with their alliance buddies in the Big Ten that do huge numbers because they have massive alumni bases and they've been around for forever. So it's almost like the Big Ten realized they really don't need the Pac-12 at all because those people really don't care about football.
It's kind of interesting. Mackenzie Milton should take a look at that and realize that, wow, maybe it's not so bad to go play football in the Midwest. It's not a bunch of shanty towns in the middle of nowhere. There are actually some massive college football fan bases. Interesting. Who'd have thunk it?
I will say this. When you see that the Big Ten is about to make $1 billion a year off their TV deal, when you know that and you know that it is coming, I do not want to hear you complain about players making money off NIL deals. I don't want to hear any complaints at all. $1 billion a year. The money's out there, people. I'm just saying.
Whew.
It's a lot
Billion
of cash.
with the B, baby.
Yeah.
Big time.
All right, let's finish up with our winners and losers of the week. But first,
concussions are a part of football. They don't have to be a part of your pool party. Nip the slip with Soft Rock's rubber safety surfacing and spend more time enjoying your outdoor parties and less time worrying about a slip and fall on your pool deck. Soft Rock of OKC specializes in customized, slip-resistant, decorative rubber surfacing for your pool decks, patios, walkways, and gym floors. Local business owners Heidi and Cody Clark at Soft Rock of OKC are ready to help you prevent that next slip. Visit softrock.com/OKC. That's SOFTROC.com/OKC for more information. The Clarks also own the Driveway Company. The Driveway Company has tailored solutions to eliminate all of your driveway problems. They can repair cracks, clean and seal your rotting grass-filled joints to prevent water damage, ultimately saving you thousands of dollars in future repairs. Visit thedrivewaycompany.com/OKC for all of your driveway repair needs. Learn more about Soft Rock and the Driveway Company by visiting their Facebook and Instagram pages or by calling 405-294-9834.
make sure you send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join. And as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, or maybe you want to win 5 state championships and end up in their athletic hall of fame, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who is your winner of the week?
I thought about going with you because you inducted into the Hall of Fame and so big that you could big time them and not even show up for the ceremony.
My parents went. So
Ah.
the scheduling a little
Scheduling
miscommunication
conflict, yeah.
and a scheduling conflict.
Dang it.
Prior commitment.
Right.
It involved me carving up some powder, bruh.
That's awesome. I'm going with Zac Taylor with the Bengals. Locked up, a contract extension, didn't take them long at all. Super Bowl appearance, just done it in a couple of years up there. People questioned it at the beginning, but obviously got them to the Super Bowl. I think this is good for Cincinnati. Now they've got some things that they've got to address. They've got to get Joe Burrow some protection on that offensive line, and they need to do it quick. The pounding that he's taken over the first 2 years, tore the ACL in year 1, year 2 was playing through that MCL in the Super Bowl game. They've got to get some offensive linemen in there, and I know that they know that. They're going to address that need, but I thought that was a good move by Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. My biggest fear, because I've told the Bengals story on here where I went and worked out for them. They told me I was by far the best guy in the workout, but they didn't want to sign me because they didn't like the way my knee looked. They didn't want to be possibly on the hook for what my knee could cost the organization, is basically how I understood that. That is the cheapest organization in all of football. And I've got a really hard time believing that the Brown family is going to spend the money, man. I got a hard time believing it. And my fear is, and I'm not the first one to come up with this comparison, my fear is that Joe Burrow is going to be Andrew Luck. That the beating is just going to wear on him and wear on him and wear on him to where he says, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Because that's what happened to Andrew Luck. Like the pain in the rehab, it added up. And finally he said, you know what? I'm out. I right now, you look at Joe Burrow, you see how he's wired, you see how he acts, and you could go, no, that would never happen to that guy. No one would have said Andrew Luck was going to be that guy either.
Right.
That dude's tough as hell, but it takes a big toll on you. And they got to address the offensive line. And they got to do it well through the draft. They got to pay somebody in free agency. I just don't know if they're going to do it, man. I don't know.
They've got to have some space with a quarterback on a rookie deal, and they don't have a bunch of big name guys on that team right now. They should have some space to be able to go out, make some moves in free agency. Now, I don't know what free agency looks like on the offensive line this year, but definitely need to address it in the draft.
Yeah, but you mentioned Zac Taylor. Did you see what he said? Because we talked about it in our recap of the Super Bowl. Did you see what he said about Samaje while he was in? It was actually pretty cool.
No, I didn't.
Because I saw Peter Schrager, he put it out there. I've got it right here. Because they asked him about Mixon not being in on that 3rd and 1 run. And he said, yeah, we were in 2-minute mode, and Samaje has done a great job. His role has really been as a protecting back, and a lot of the things that come with that, off of that. It's one of those situations where I called to play a little later on the clock. And so I was the one that said, leave him in there. Justin Hill, our running backs coach, asked if he wanted to make a change. I said, just leave Samaje in there. Obviously, it didn't work out for us. Whether Joe is in there or not, he's certainly deserving of the opportunity in a key moment, in a key game, to try to get it for us as our featured back. But again, that's just one of those decisions you make in the moment, and you got to move forward with it. There's other things I certainly could have done over the course of the game that would have put us in a better position. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it done. So
yeah,
I thought him saying that about Samaje was really cool, and also just kind of owning it. Zac Taylor is, and it's not just because he's from Norman. Like, he's an easy dude to root for.
Right. And it's not like P. Ryan's not a good short yardage back either,
And just ran into Aaron Donald.
Yeah, it's not like you had a 3rd down back, like a scat back in there and decided to stick with him. Like, P. Ryan is one of the most powerful guys, OU's had at running back. I mean, he's just incredibly strong. So, yeah, no, I get it. Tough.
You still got to have Mixon in on that play. I'm sorry, Zach. But great explanation. All right, who do you have as your loser of the week?
I had to go with Los Angeles. Now, here's what's interesting. Number one, it took him forever to change the Hollywood sign to, say the Rams house or something ridiculous like that. But did you see the lack of parade?
First of all, did you see the route of the parade? It wasn't even a mile. It's like, it's not a parade. I will say I loved how drunk Stafford was. That was awesome.
Oh,
big fan of that.
Was great. Did you see the video of him just walking directly into his pool?
Love it. Love it. I didn't spend a ton of time. Like, I was in Detroit in the entire offseason with Stafford. He's exactly how everyone says he is. Like, he's such a cool guy. Just like such a normal, cool guy. And I loved seeing him that wasted. That was awesome. That was like my favorite thing of the entire parade. That, I think everyone realizes, like, Aaron Donald, defensive tackles aren't supposed to look like that with their shirts off. Just ridiculous.
No big deal. Just walk around looking like the Incredible Hulk. But listen to this. Super Bowl local market ratings. Number 1 rating was Cincinnati. 46.1. Don't know what that means. 84. Maybe that's I don't know what that is. Cincinnati's number 1. Detroit was a close second. Looks like a lot of people watching Stafford. But you just go through it. Pittsburgh, Columbus, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Boston, Philadelphia, Jacksonville. LA, nowhere near the top 10 in ratings. Dude, that's kind of what we've talked about. People have said about like Lincoln Riley going out there for USC. That is not a football place, man. It's just not.
The Rams were the best team. They deserved to win the Super Bowl. That being said, people in Los Angeles do not care about football the way that people in all the towns that Mackenzie Milton hates care about football. Who would want to go live in Norman? I mean, seriously. Well, who would want to go live in Cincinnati or Detroit or Pittsburgh? Columbus, I'm not going to lie, is awesome. I was a huge Columbus fan.
That place is really cool.
But it's like Kansas City, Milwaukee. Football matters there, man. That's why people go to the Blue Bloods in those types of towns. Have you ever been to Madison, Wisconsin? And no. I know I wouldn't count Wisconsin as a blue blood, right? But like just towns like that. And Madison's a huge, huge city. But
how about like Iowa City, Iowa is supposed to be like insane.
Even Manhattan, Kansas.
Yep.
Like you and I, we've gone to that place is always packed and rock. Like, man, I don't want to hear any more of that from some dude that played in the bounce house.
Yeah. Jacksonville, Florida made the top 10, not Orlando. Jacksonville of all places. Amazing. There you go.
There are football towns and there are not football towns. And LA is not a football town. Even though their team just won the Super Bowl, even though they've got two teams, it's not a football town. It's just not. People don't care.
Nope. They care if they can be seen there. That's about it. Right?
Yeah. It's important. All right. If you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones. I always mess up the first one. I mean, the first Balcones Lineage single malt whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn whiskey.
It's made from the blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it's won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan, became the first American distillery to win the competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners, yes, are from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with the lawyers for Conference USA. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay, you're going to love this because those lawyers for the Conference USA, they are going to be racking up billable hours. I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable time for these people. Conference USA announced their 2022 conference schedule. That included Marshall, Old Dominion, and Southern Miss. The only problem with that is that all three of those schools announced that they are leaving Conference USA for the Sun Belt this summer. So, and Conference USA came out and said they will do everything legally possible to make sure those schools don't go anywhere. So, real awkward situation here in Conference USA, but the big winners of all of it, the lawyers, man. Those billable hours are going to be unbelievable.
$400 an hour or so, maybe a little higher, just racking it up. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Let's go.
Yeah, I also thought about going with Josh Giddey as my winner of the week. Thunder just lost to the Spurs, but our man Giddey, another triple-double, 17, 10, and 10 against the Spurs for Giddey. He had a triple-double against the Knicks on Monday night, which made him one of 4 players ever to record a triple-double in his first game at Madison Square Garden. 2 of the other guys people may know. So one is Chuck Person, who's a really good player, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was Rookie of the Year. And the other 2 guys, Wilt and Magic.
Decent players.
If
bad.
They're on a list with Wilt and Magic, usually pretty good. But he's the NBA does this thing called the Rookie of the Year ladder. He's up to 3rd on the Rookie of the Year ladder now.
That's awesome.
Watch out, Evan Mobley.
I was looking at his stats, and if you eliminate like the first 15 games of the year, his stats are like, especially like the last 15 games or so, he's been on it. He's playing really, really good.
It's like he's getting more comfortable. He's getting more confident.
Yeah.
He's getting better.
Yes.
Oh, his hair's still incredible.
His hair's getting longer.
Gosh, fix that hair, Giddy. Oh, yeah. It's not weird, I promise, people. It's fine. I'm so excited about Giddy. Now SGA just needs to come back. I know they'll probably win more games than people want him to win, but it's okay. We need those 2 playing together. Don't give me that look. I saw that look you gave me. Don't give me that look. Build the chemistry for the future, man. Come on.
Don't rush him back.
Oh, come on. You are just don't put him on the shelf, Presty. Don't do it. But okay, my winner of the week, though, Formula One.
Yeah.
Formula One fans, because Netflix has announced that season 4 of Formula One Drive to Survive is coming on March 11th. Ted, my anniversary is March 10th. I will be heading to vacation on March 11th. If it comes out at 12, I'm
gonna watch
I'm
the
not
whole
gonna stay up
thing?
and watch it, but I'm probably gonna download it and watch it on the plane. Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
don't know
do.
if there's a better vacation than sitting back, grabbing a couple of beverages and watching a season of Formula One.
Have you watched any of it?
I watched some 2 summers ago. I think, was it the first season? I don't know. I watched a couple of episodes of one of the seasons. Yeah.
Maybe drama.
I need to get back into it.
The drama of the battle. And I already know what happens, right? Verstappen won in a very controversial way, right? Comes down to the last race. But being able to watch the behind the scenes drama of that whole battle like play out between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be incredible television. I cannot wait.
Here's my only beef.
Ooh.
And maybe it's not really a beef. Maybe there's no problem with it, but it's almost as if there's no one else even on the track except for Hamilton and Verstappen. Don't they finish first and second in every single race pretty much?
They do. They kind of did. Yeah, if they didn't crash. But McLaren had a 1-2 last season. That'll be a fun episode, dude. That'll be a fun episode. But I think you'll be happy to know they changed a lot of the rules that is supposed to create some more parity in the sport, Ted. So we'll dive into those on another episode, right? We don't want to get too into the Formula One weeds.
No. Good stuff though. When that drops, I'll check it out. I'll watch that season.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
I'm going to hold you to it. All right. For my loser of the week, thought about going, I don't know how much Olympics you guys are watching, but thought about going with the U.S. men's hockey team. What the hell was that? Number 1 seed, you lose to Slovakia in the quarters.
Can't do it.
Slovakia? First of all, you give up a game tying goal in the final minute of regulation. I'm up watching it. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I like watching hockey. You break my heart with that. And then it goes to a shootout and you lose to Slovakia. What are we doing? I know it's not NHL, guys. I don't care. We can't lose to Slovakia in anything.
No, should never lose to Slovakia in anything. Not with the resources, not with the training. Come on, man. That was frustrating. I was very slow to get into the Olympics at first, but I've been gaining some steam. Been watching more and more.
do you want to say anything about the 15-year-old Russian figure skater, the girl that failed for the PEDs, but they're still letting her compete? Do you care?
I don't know enough about the story.
I don't either, but it sounds like this is an assumption.
Okay.
She's a 15-year-old Russian star figure skater. I'm guessing some Russian adult said, "Hey, you're taking this drug."
Now, she said that she mistakenly took some of her grandfather's heart medicine.
How do you do that?
I don't know. But do you really, especially when you're 15,
That's
you
what I'm
really
saying.
need
There's some adult. There's some adult that made her do it. Or at least that's because it like helps your stamina,
skating.
right?
When is the last time we saw someone, and I'm not, in no way am I suggesting that you don't get tired during figure skating, and hitting that last triple axel at the end of the long program isn't hard. I understand, okay? But when have we ever said, like that is like the deciding factor? I don't know. That seems so, like, if you're going to risk it and have some type of state-sponsored PED, like bobsled, cross country, some of that stuff, okay, you've got my attention. Those are power sports, or those are extreme endurance sports. Figure skating doesn't seem like it's worth the risk.
I'm going out on a limb. I have never gone through a short program or long program of figure skating. I'm guessing it's really tiring, more tiring than you think. I know you're on skates.
I know it is. I know it is, but come on. PEDs?
She's 15. Someone made her do it. I'm sticking to that.
Well, I agree with that 100%. Now, here's the other part of it. I'm not totally convinced that she did it willingly or knew about it or whatever. But here's the thing, man. It's the Olympics. It doesn't matter. If you failed the test, you cannot compete. Can't do it. There's way too much on the line. There's been way too much controversy. You cannot do it. If you have a banned substance and you fail a drug test, you're out.
I'm with you. I know it may not be fair to the 15-year-old, especially if someone forced her to do it.
Well, it's more fair to a 15-year-old than it is like a 25-year-old that's going to be too old to compete again.
And that's what I'm saying. But also think of those sports, winning a gold medal and what that means for endorsement money. That's massive. So if you're going to let someone that, let's call it how we see it, someone that cheated, win that gold medal instead, doesn't seem right, even though she's 15. I don't know. Okay, but my loser of the week, I love him. I loved what he did at OU. I love watching him play. But the Kyler Murray thing has gotten weird. It has gotten weird. So remember, he scrubbed his social media of any sign of the Arizona Cardinals. Some people thought, hey, maybe it had to do with his contract. Maybe he wasn't happy about all the criticism he got for the playoff loss, where he did not play well. Let's just call it how we see it. But he puts a statement out, and it's a Notes app statement. It's very large font, which I appreciated. You know, as I get older, it's easy to read. Thank you, Kyler. But there's a part in there where he says, quote, "All of this nonsense is not what I'm about. Never has been, never will be." Once again, he's a hell of a player. But didn't he start this whole thing? The nonsense? Is it the nonsense a result of him or his people or whatever scrubbing social media? I don't understand. Help me understand. Like, what if you're going to issue a statement, have that statement have some teeth, man. Well, the statement was a whole bunch of nothing. I was so confused, man.
And the other part is, like, he mentions that he does it, he plays for the love of the game. But, like, I had and I could be wrong on this, but I felt like this whole thing is probably like contract, related to some degree as well, right? I mean, extension talk or something. I don't know if he's even up for it yet, but I thought it was a weird statement, especially, and you're right, considering that he kind of got the ball in motion here.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I thought that was weird. And then I saw the Marquise Brown rumor. Hollywood. And I want to point out, I just want to say, I don't believe this, but the rumor is out there and it was all over Twitter. We all saw it. So Marquise Brown, he wiped his social media pages of all the traces of the Baltimore Ravens. Now there's still some stuff of Lamar Jackson on there, but like all the pictures of him playing in a Ravens uniform, gone. And a guy on Twitter with a handle @BandDrew reported that Hollywood is considering retiring to pursue a career in gaming, and said that he's put a lot of time into building a Twitch following and is looking to parlay that success into a career. And then a guy named CJ Golson, once again, I don't believe any of this, but it's out there. A guy named CJ Golson on Twitter confirmed it, saying Hollywood thinks it's better for his future health. That's hard to argue with, but also said there's higher earning potential. I feel so stupid bringing it up. There's no way this is true, right? There's no way.
I guess I can't say there's no way that it's true. I mean, maybe. I don't know enough about how good of a gamer he is, or, like how much he makes on Twitch, how many followers he has on Twitch. But here's the thing. People follow him on Twitch to watch him play video games. Why? Because he plays for the Ravens in the NFL. That's why they follow him. They don't, I mean, I'm sure he's a good gamer. I'm not saying that he's not, but that's how he got his following. So if you step away from that, it's probably going to hurt your gaming situation. Unless he's that good, and I don't know, maybe he is.
I'm not proud to say this. Once I saw this, once again, don't believe it. I don't believe it. I went and looked up like Twitch streamer earnings, went down a rabbit hole. So I guess the Ninja guy, the really famous gamer, he apparently left Twitch for a company called Mixer. And reportedly, some of the people that did that, we're talking like $30 million deal. Like we're talking
a year?
No, I think total. Oh. But I looked up the Twitch stuff because Twitch earnings, they got leaked. The earnings between August 2019 and October 2021. So essentially 2 years. Highest earner. I had to tell you this because it's too good. So the second highest earner is a guy named XQC. And in that 2 year window, 8.4 million Twitch earnings. Number one, and this is, I couldn't stop chuckling at this. Number one earner in that 2 year window, a group known as Critical Role. They are voice actors that play Dungeons and Dragons on Twitch. $9.6 million earned in that window.
Wow.
What are we doing, man?
I don't know. Do you know who Mr. Beast is?
I've heard. I don't know a lot about video games. Like, this is the most I've ever looked into it.
Mr. Beast is, my son watches some of his stuff, I think. I think he's a gamer, but he also has like a YouTube page. I think he makes like $50 million a year or something crazy like that. And I've seen some of his videos. Like, it's not any high level stuff going on here, man. It really isn't. It's shocking that guy makes that much money.
Jimmy Donaldson is 23-year-old, known as Mr. Beast, was YouTube's highest earner in 2021, according to Forbes. His elaborate stunts have generated more than 10 billion views on the platform and earned him $54 million.
Crazy.
And
Crazy.
the kid that opens the toys is still killing it. I forgot what his name.
Oh yeah,
like
he
Alex.
makes like 25 million a year.
What are we doing, man?
No, Ryan's Toys, I think is his name.
Subscribe on YouTube, please.
Yeah.
And on that note, episode 190 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Thursday morning. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on 94.7 The Ref. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have a fantastic weekend. Until next time, we appreciate you all for listening, and do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.